Hi guys, it's Ann here, and today's video is my Pan That palette for 2020 update number 8. So the way I do this video is I talk about my palette that I'm trying to pan for the year first, and then I'll talk about the palettes that I picked for a month. So I'm doing like a shop my stash. It's not, I used to call it roulette, it's more like a shop my stash each month. So I'll talk about the palettes I picked the previous month, and then I'll talk about the palettes I'm going to use in the upcoming month. So let's talk about my palette. The palette that I picked is the NYX Warm Neutrals Ultimate Shadow Palette, and I can't recall if in last update I had pan on this or not, but I have pan on this shade. I think I was like super close. I'm pretty sure I hit pan on this like 2 days after I filmed. And then I just hit pan on this little guy, like I want to say yesterday. I knew I was real close on that one. So again, really happy with the progress on this. Last month it was 98.35 grams. It's now 98.1 grams, which is only a difference of 0.25 grams, which is actually the worst month I've done. January was close at 0.26 grams. Well, I might be at 0.26 because I did use this today after I weighed it. So anyway, not the best progress in August, but I was using a lot of other shadows, a lot of other things were going on. There was a lot of days where I didn't wear makeup as well. So I'm definitely getting back on the bandwagon of using this though. I'm looking forward to using this in September. I am now going to move on to the shades that I have like barely touched. So we're going to focus on this shade I've actually used a fair amount. It was kind of like this one. Like I felt like I used them a fair amount, nothing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there we are, we're at pan. So I feel like this one's going to be like surprise pan as well. That's my probably biggest gripe of this palette. This color and this color are just way too close. They could have definitely put something else in here. But anyway, I'm going to focus on this guy right here. And then I'm going to focus on these three right here, which I've barely touched, and these two. And I do think by the end of the year I can hit pan on everything. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I think I can do this. The only one that's going to trip me up probably is this one, because it's a really dark shade and it's not something I'm going to gravitate to very often. But yeah, I'm really excited to play with these other colors now in the upcoming months. So I did pick 2 face palettes to use in July and August. July and August kind of ran together. So my August update was like, yeah, I'm probably just going to keep using what I used in July and then maybe mix in a few things, which is pretty much what I did. So the one face palette I have is the Hamptons Weekender. This is just a really great travel palette, which has been pretty convenient for me lately, and I'm just going to continue to use it. It's a nice little palette. Yeah, I'm really glad I have that. And then the other palette that I was using is the Anastasia Glow Kit. This is in Sun Dipped. And I'm going to tell you, these highlights are blingin'. I barely put a dent in them because you don't need to use a whole lot. My issue with these is I'm not really into a huge blingin' highlight, so it feels like overkill when I use these. They are so beautiful. I do enjoy using them, but they're just not a day-to-day thing for me. That's the only thing that's a bit tricky with these, but they are just so pretty. The only shade that I really don't use is this bronzed one. I'm not. I think I'm just afraid of it. I should try and use it, but we're probably just gonna put this away. For palettes, I pulled out this Carly Bible palette. I had a hard time remembering what this was called. It's the deluxe edition palette. This is just such a really nice palette. I feel like I didn't actually use this a whole lot, but it is such a nice palette. Like I really enjoy the color scheme on this palette. I don't really get this bottom section a whole lot. We could have done without like this. But yeah, just the color selection is so pretty. You have like some warm neutrals, some cooler neutrals that bring it down, some like orangey peach shades, some like pinky shades, some purpley shades. Like Carly, thumbs up on this. Like I just really like this palette and the quality is awesome. Like it's a great little palette. So actually it also has like a little bronze kind of shade too that clearly never used because it still shows the embossing. Anyway, spoiler alert, this is in contention for Project Pan 2021. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't 100% decided yet. The next palette that I was using quite a bit was the Flamingo palette, and again, this was kind of like an on and off. I used it a lot more in August, particularly because I did a video on it, so I'm not going to talk too much in detail about this because I did an entire video on it if you want to see looks and swatches. But yeah, I do really enjoy this palette. Again, it's not for everybody, but I do enjoy playing with this. And the last palette that I had mentioned in my last video was this Tartist Pro To Go palette. It's just this little 6-pan palette, and I love this for travel. It's a great little palette. I didn't use it at all, so it's going to stay in the project because I kind of forgot about it. The other palette that I put in that I really didn't use a whole lot was this Violet Voss Creme Brulee palette. It's a nice palette. It's definitely more of a fall color scheme in my mindset, which is why I didn't really use it a whole lot. And it's also very mid-toned and deep for me. Like, yeah, there's these 2 shades that are kind of lighter, but this gold is actually pretty intense. And yeah, just like for my personal preferences, I definitely gear towards lighter eyeshadows because I have such deep set eyes. So I don't know, I think I might pull this back out again in October because I really didn't feel like I got a good feel for this palette. But they are like super pigmented shades. Again, I think the Violet Voss quality is really, really good. This intrigues me to look at more of some of these bite-sized palettes. I've also been looking at some of her larger palettes. Even though I say I really don't want larger palettes and I don't really like them, there's a couple of hers and I'm like, you know what? I think I really want them because I think they definitely would fit my style. And again, I'm pretty happy with the quality of this. And then let's wrap up with the singles. So this is the one that I kind of forgot about. Didn't really talk about this in August. This is the Farinay Mythical Dalliance. The only reason why is because it wasn't with me because it's a loose powder and I don't like to travel with these. I tried to take a photo of this and it just does not do it justice. I can't, like, on camera, just does not do it justice. But this is like one of the most beautiful shadows that I have in my entire collection. It's just beautiful. And it's actually very wearable. Like when you put it on, it just, I don't know, it has this really interesting quality. It's like a duochrome color. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful shadow that I will have forever because it's a loose powder. The next one is this Ace Beauté in Cotton Candy. I forgot to take a picture of this. Again, talk about pigmentation. This eyeshadow is so pigmented. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful color. It's definitely intense. Like I feel like this shadow is definitely not for everyone, but it is quite beautiful. I did take a picture of the next 2 singles. The first one is the Magnificent Metals in Kitten. It's from Stila, and again, I've had this for a really long time, but it's still like super creamy and like it seems fine. Doesn't have any smell or anything. I'm so glad that I pulled this out and played with this because it is a beautiful eyeshadow, and I just kept saving it for some reason for like some magical events that I was never going to go to, and even if I went to, I probably wouldn't have used this anyway because I would have forgotten about it or picked something else. So yeah, I'm glad that I've forced myself to really, really get to know you because you are a beautiful product. I'm pretty sure they've discontinued these. I could be wrong. And the reason why it's like this little guy is it came in like a Sephora summer kit, I think, or it came in a kit. And then the last single that I had in July and August, was this one in Sunset Fire from Stila. This is a glitter and glow. Again, really beautiful, beautiful shimmer on this. Not for every day, but I still wore it like on a regular Wednesday because it is really, really pretty. I actually need to pull out one of the other ones. This came in a set of 3, and I want to pull out one of the other ones and play with it because, yeah, I just really, really enjoy these. They're quite nice. Now, I think I might like the shimmer and glow a bit more. The glitter and glow is definitely like it's glitter. Like you can definitely see it. And it's more of like, I prefer to apply this over top of a shadow instead of just on its own because I think it just looks a lot prettier that way. Okay, on to September shadows. I say this every month that I'm trying to simplify, that I pull too many things and I'm overwhelmed and I need to simplify, and yet every month I keep doing this to myself. However, I think I have finally simplified for September. For September, I'm gonna again pull this Tartist. I was looking at this for like the longest time, like how are you supposed to pronounce this? And then I finally realized it's like Artist Pro To Go, but it's Tartist Pro To Go. Finally dawned on me what they're trying to say there. Anyway, definitely gonna try and use this over the month of September, keeping it somewhat tart themed. I did pull another Tarte palette. This is one that just gets really lost in my collection. I think partially because I didn't buy this myself. This came in a BoxyCharm. This is the Be You Naturally palette. I think it was specific to BoxyCharm, but I think you can buy it now, or you can buy it through the BoxyCharm website. And it's real boring, but it's real me. Like, this is like an easy everyday palette that you don't have to think about. And I know it's going to compete a little bit with my Pan That palette, but I think I'm going to enjoy using this. I haven't really played with this a lot. Like, I'm looking at it, it's like it looks freaking pristine. I feel like I've barely used this. Again, potential contender for Pan That palette 2021. The third and final palette that I picked was the Too Faced Tutti Frutti collection Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette. This is just a really, really nice palette. I kind of wish I bought the pineapple one. I did buy the pineapple one, but I put it in a giveaway. I kind of wish I bought it for myself too. Yeah, I'm just really into these colors right now, especially these pinks. They're calling my name, and for some reason, and you'll see with some of my other picks that like I'm drawn to purple right now too. So this palette was just calling my name, so I pulled it out. And it's got some really unique, like these two in the middle, like particularly, you can even see it on camera. Like this one on here is like a really weird texture. It's like wet. I don't think it's like that in any other palettes, like other than these Tutti Frutti palettes. And like, look at that shade. I'm hopefully gonna do swatches for all of these. I haven't been doing that recently. I pulled one single shadow, and this is a loose shadow from Fear & A, and this is in Meerkat. So again, it's purple, and that's, I don't know, I'm drawn to purple right now. September is the month of purple for me, I think. The other palette that I didn't talk about, because it wasn't actually a pick, but I bought it at the end of July, no, August, was the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. So I have been using that in August. I probably will play with it 1 or 2 more times in September, but it's really not part of this. It's because it's new. So I've been playing with it, but I didn't put it in my picks. And then my last sort of palette, singles, that kind of bridges both worlds is this. I put in a bunch of singles in this little Z palette. It looks so funny. It's like so monochromatic, but I kind of did that on purpose. So the first 3 on this side are the Pure Nada shadows. So the reason why I wanted to put them in this and keep them out is because I'm testing them and I'm playing with them. So far good. The other colors are kind of like similar, and that's why I pulled them. So the middle one is Dragonfly, which I'm pretty sure is a ColourPop shadow. And I kind of looked at it, I was like, it looks really similar to Pewter, but I don't think it is. I think it's more of a purpley color. Again, purples. So again, I was kind of drawn to it because it was a purple. And then the other 2 shadows are kind of interesting. So I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but Avon had like a sister line that was supposed to be like more modern called Mark, and their brand ambassador was Lauren Conrad. So if you're following anything, Lauren Conrad, I think, is launching a beauty brand. And so it made me think of these shadows. I was like, oh yeah, I have those 2 shadows from Mark that I never use anymore. And they're huge. They were supposed to come as part of a system, and I never ended up getting the system. I just had the 2 single shadows. And fun fact, these 2 eyeshadows are over 10 years old. And the reason why I know that is I've lived in Toronto for 10 years. I had these before I moved to Toronto. So I know they're over 10 years old. This one is still pretty good. This one's feeling a little dry. This one has, but I think it's always been dry. I don't even know what, oh, there are shades on the back. This one is in Fairy Dust. And then the other one is in Minx. So yeah, they do have shade names. So yeah, sorry, it's getting a little dark again. So yeah, I'm pretty, I know it sounds really, I'm pretty excited to play with these, but I'm really intrigued to play with these. And that's it. That is all that I pulled out, which feels so much smaller than some previous months, especially with like July and August. I feel like I was like all over the map with this, and now I feel like I'm a little bit more reined in. I'll be honest, this is like one of my favorite videos to film. It's one of my favorite projects that I'm doing this year. I'm just really enjoying playing with these palettes and mixing things up, as well as making progress with my Pan That palette. Anyway, hope you liked this video. If you did, feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my tiny little channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.